If you see this between March 29th through April 5th, it's literally Holy Week. Happy Holy Week, everybody. This is literally the most important week of all time. And I want to break down what happens each day because I think this is so fascinating. So today is Sunday. We call it Palm Sunday. And this is the day where Jesus rode into Jerusalem on a donkey. And people were cheering for him. They were waving these palm branches and they were shouting out, "Save us," because they thought he was going to save them politically. But no, he came there to save them spiritually. And we're about to see a few days later how they completely changed their mind on Jesus and they yell out, "Crucify him." But we're not there yet. So then we go to Monday. On this day, Jesus walks into the temple and he sees people buying, selling, and people basically just making money off scamming people. And Jesus starts flipping tables. And the reason Jesus does this is because people were using God for personal gain. All right, and then we go to Tuesday. So after Jesus was flipping the tables on Monday, he comes back the next day and the religious leaders at the time were trying to catch him. They were trying to trap him and they were asking him all these questions and they were trying to like back him into a corner with asking these different questions. And then Jesus starts calling these dudes out. He's like, "Y'all look good on the outside, but on the inside, you're far from God." And Jesus even says, "Y'all are some whitewashed tombs." That boy Jesus was going off on these people, man. Then we go to Wednesday, and this is the day that Judas agrees to betray Jesus for 30 pieces of silver. And I just looked it up, and apparently today's money, that would be like $300. Can you imagine betraying Jesus for $300? But the truth is, a lot of us do it today for free. Let's go to Thursday. Thursday is the day of the Last Supper. This is when Jesus sits down with his disciples, and it's the night before he's crucified, and he breaks bread with them. He says, "This is my body." He pours wine, and he says, "This is my blood." And he's basically telling them, "I'm about to give my life for you." He says, "You don't understand what I'm doing now, but someday you will." And then he goes to the Garden of Gethsemane, and he's praying. He feels overwhelmed to the point where he's sweating blood. He's praying to God like, "God, if there's any other way we could do this, can we please do that? Because this is going to be painful." But then he said, "But nonetheless, not my will be done, but your will be done." And that same night, Judas shows up with the soldiers and he betrays Jesus. And that's when Jesus is arrested. And that brings us to Friday. And this is the day where Jesus is crucified. This is the day where Jesus is beaten, whipped, nailed to a cross. And this is the day that Jesus dies. And then we go to Saturday. And Saturday, nothing happens. Jesus is in the tomb. It looks like all hope is gone. It looks like the enemy won. It feels like the end. The disciples were probably thinking, "Man, it's over. We literally followed him for nothing." But how many of you guys know that Sunday is coming, man? And then we go to Sunday and everything changes. The stone is rolled away. The tomb is empty. Jesus is alive. And all this to say,
I'm successful not because of all my followers or fame, but because 2,000 years ago Christ walked about the grave. Yeah.